Hey everybody, and welcome to JG Wam's 2023 Year in Review Part 2. This time we're talking movies. This is just a list of all the movies that I watched over this year and some brief thoughts on them, and I'll probably inevitably end up just talking about the plot of the movie, because that's what I ended up doing in the comic video. So, whatever. So my goal for 2023 movies-wise was to watch one movie a week, 52 movies obviously. I ended up watching 76, 42 of which were new to me, 6 of which I didn't count because they were just like, I watched them this year and then I watched them again this year, like they're a 2023 rewatch. So I rewatched movies 6 times. Ugh, I do that a lot. And then I ended up watching 36 for Halloween because I try to watch a movie a day, and I just barely got it in this year with 36. That's barely made that one. So starting January 1st, I remember the start of the year, I just wanted to start it off really positively, so I decided to rewatch Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you don't know, it's like a multiversal hoppy movie about this mom and daughter trying to come to terms with what it means to live life, and be a human and have relationships with other people. And man, it's been that was the last time I've watched this movie, and when I was really deep in it, I had a lot more poignant things to say about it. It's all about family, the red letter media meme. But yeah, it's an excellent movie. I think it's worth watching. It's very funny. I think it has a lot to say. I think there's multiple layers to it. The editing team kicked ass, especially considering I think they were learning on the fly, or some of them were at least, and they did a really good job with it. It was just a really clever movie, all in all. January 8th, I ended up watching The Woman King. This is a weird movie. The movie itself is really good. The story's really good, but it feels like it's shot wrong or something, or the camera is bad. It felt like a fucking, a sitcom or something. I don't know. I think that, we've all just kind of switched over to, standardized digital formatting, and I don't know if I don't know, it just felt weird. And the plot itself is good, and if it's accurate to history, which I can't remember, that's awesome. The more accurate, the better, in my opinion. I'm way against, I forgot, Ridley Scott, right? I think it was Ridley Scott, but I don't want to get the name wrong, so if I got that name wrong, I'm sorry, Ridley Scott. But the Napoleon thing where you're just fuck it, I don't give a shit about history, it's about making a good movie. No, you're making I don't know. I guess that's true. You should be able to make a fictionalized account of Napoleon's life, but you can't then be this is a historical document. But yeah, The Woman King. It's a good time overall. Following that, January 22nd, I watched the movie Men. Fellow YouTuber acolytes of horror made a video about this, about how this is more of a poem, and going into the movie with that in mind, I thought this was really good. The cinematography is awesome. The acting's good. I don't know. It's not really a movie. It's a poem as a movie. So it's kind of hard to... It does what it does, and if you're into that, that's great. And if you're not, I don't blame you, because this has fucking horrifying imagery in it. And the one dude who plays almost every male character in the movie, treating the lead female like total shit for most of the movie, and being a real creep. But yeah, I don't know. If I suggest watching, well, I don't know if I suggest watching because I think that video kind of spoils it. But if you can watch Men, knowing that some really extremely strange shit will happen towards the end, and it's more of a poem than a movie, I think Men's a great movie. So if you're a cinephile, if you like movies, you'll be more likely to get into it, I think. Where if you're just kind of a casual person, let's watch a horror movie, man, I don't think Men would be a good choice. But I think it was pretty cool overall. Yeah, cool's the word. Cool. I think that was cool what happened at the end there. Just crying over and over. Oh my god. January 26th, Big Money Hustlas, the ICP movie. I don't know why the fuck I started my year off watching this, but this is just a schlocky ass making fun of blaxploitation films, but it's 2 white dudes in clown makeup. It's fun. I genuinely think it's a pretty funny movie, especially if you like ICP, or if at any point in your life liked ICP. The Insane Clown Posse, of course. Yeah, it's just a stupid little cult comedy movie. My favorite line is at one point this dude's robbing a donut shop, and he's dressed in an ape suit, and his line is, "I'm in an ape suit, and that means I don't give a fuck," as he robs him. And I don't know if you don't think that's funny. It's all probably dumber than that. February 17th, let's see, we watched Pompoko. Never seen this before. There's a ton of Ghibli movies that I've not watched. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I think it's pronounced Ghibli, and that's how I'm going to pronounce it, but it's probably not. I'm sorry. I don't mean it disrespectfully. I just mean it out of pure ignorance. But Pompoko is a great little cute movie about Tanuki stretching their balls and flying around. I love that they morph from like realistic Tanuki into like the cartoony Tanuki, depending on like the scenario and how many humans are around, and like how much they lose touch with the magic of their origin, and when they like leave and go into like the human world. It was a good movie. I need to rewatch it. It's up there. I like it better than Ponyo for sure. I recommend it. February 18th, I think this was a short, but it's called Velma Meets the Original Velma. And if I remember right, it was just some like cosmic horror joke about how Scooby-Doo is this endless loop of like torture because it's just never ever going to end. It's one of those franchises that they just keep dragging back from the dead. It was pretty funny, little short, if you like silly, dark, short takes on classic cartoons and stuff. It's weird that that's like a thing, huh? It is, though. If you know, you know. March 10th, I watched a collection of Maya Deren's work. I don't remember how I got on her Wikipedia page, but some tweet or some YouTube comment or something somewhere linked me to Maya Deren, and I was checking out her works, and it was mostly, she's made a bunch of shorts from like the 1940s to the 1950s, and they were praised for using, I guess, like unique effects and stuff. So I just wanted to check it out, and some of them were more interesting than the others. I don't necessarily know how much it's worth your time to check out, but it was interesting. I watched Meshes of the Afternoon, At Land, A Study in Choreography for Camera, Ritual and Transfigured Time, which, what an incredible name, and Meditation on Violence, and The Very Eye of Night. So I think, what is that, 6? Yeah. Of those, Meshes of the Afternoon and The Very Eye of Night were the two I rated highest, and the only one I really remember anything from was The Very Eye of Night. I'm pretty sure that's the one where it was like stars turning into people and dancing, and it used like cool effects to make them like transform back and forth. And like how they did the lighting on like black to make dancers and white like stand out like stars. I think that was probably had some of the most cool visuals. But I rated Meshes of the Afternoon a little higher, but I don't remember it at all. So I don't know. The only other one that I remember anything from is Meditation on Violence, which that's the lamest by far. She just like filmed a dude doing like his kung fu routine, which isn't bad at all, but it's just that. And like in high school I made a video called, I don't remember what it was called, but it was something about making an omelet, or I think it's just how to make an omelet. Yeah, it's just this stupid like me shooting all the different steps to making an omelet, and without any words or anything, and just music, and that it could have just been called Meditation on Omelet, like, and it would have been the same type of deal. I don't know. Again, she was just kind of like experimenting with film, so it's not like I'm glad people like that exist and still do and can and will forever continue to. Hopefully, we need more creatives. April 3rd, I watched the 2018 remake of Suspiria. Wow, holy shit! I liked Suspiria from the 60s or 70s. I watched it in late 2028 too, and I wanted to follow it right up with this, but I for some reason ended up watching them both with my mom, and she did not like the first Suspiria, so it took me a while to convince her to watch the remake, because I was like, no, this one's like a real movie, because the other one's weird, like art housey nonsense. I can totally understand why some people wouldn't like it, and like the soundtrack, it's one of those soundtracks where it, like, it's not meant for like human consumption, I don't think. But the 2018 remake's great and updates the movie in an excellent way, I think. It does lose some stuff that I like in the original, but I think it brings in a whole lot more new cool stuff, and overall is probably a better film, and definitely easier to recommend that people watch over some like old Italian giallo film. I think giallo, whatever that's pronounced. But yeah, it's just the same thing about coven of witches in a dance school, and they're just trying to control these young girls and use them for their own ends or whatever, and like absorb their power or whatever so that they can remain eternally youthful. And yeah, it's well, I guess it's not really eternally youthful because that lady is still pretty old, but I don't know, I think it is eternal life that they're seeking ultimately. I don't remember. I need to rewatch it. It was good, and I recommend you watch it. And also Tilda, I can't remember her last name. Tilda Swinton, I think her. She's great. She's great in Suspiria. April 10th, I ended up rewatching Everything Everywhere All at Once. Probably showed it to a friend or something. Whatever. April 13th, I watched Return of the Living Dead, which has quickly become one of my absolute favorite horror movies ever. It's just like, holy shit, I'm so bummed that I didn't watch this sooner in my life. I probably would have liked it way more than Evil Dead back in the day, which, I like Evil Dead quite a bit. But, apropos, that's coming up next. But anyway, Return of the Living Dead, great little movie. So George A. Romero made Night of the Living Dead, but he made it with somebody else, and that dude split off, and he made Return of the Living Dead after George A. Romero got really successful with Dawn of the Dead, City of the Dead, Land of the Dead, whatever the fuck. But Return of the Living Dead is like way more comical, and it's like as if the first movie had been a documentary that the U.S. government fucked with enough so people believed it was a movie. And then they had the last zombie trapped in like a container, and it's at this like warehouse where they send out medical supplies to schools so that like kids can like learn, like skeletons, and different like veterinarian students can learn like animal anatomy. And so they like get the skeletons and body parts sent here, and then they send them out to all those schools. And he's like, we got that zombie here. And he like goes and shows it to a new recruit and taps it, and it releases the gas, and they turn into zombies. And then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it is hilarious. And God, what a good movie. What a good movie. We need more stuff like that. I highly recommend Return of the Living Dead any time of the year. Following that, I invited my cousin over on May 6th for a little movie marathon because I found out that he'd never seen Evil Dead. We skipped the first one, and then I watched Evil Dead 2, and then I watched the remake with him, skipping Army of Darkness, because to me personally, I don't like the goofier side. I think Evil Dead 2 is about the perfect amount of goof with horror. Like, that's what I want, and Army of Darkness just turns into like a Saturday morning cartoon. Turns out my cousin would have preferred to have watched Army of Darkness over the Evil Dead remake, but needless to say, Evil Dead 2 he liked a lot, and it's a classic, man. I don't know what the fuck do you need me to say about Evil Dead 2? If you've seen Evil Dead, you know about it. Like, everybody knows about Evil Dead. It's fantastic. Ash Williams is a great horror character. One of my favorite things, I'll just say this, one of my favorite things in Evil Dead 2, random little bits that I don't hear anybody talk about, but just cracks me up, is when the lady is pulling in like the fat redneck guy, and she just can't, he's heavy, so she's slowly pulling him in, and she closes the door, and he's not all the way in, and so he screams, and she's like, I'm sorry, and she pulls him in further, and she closes the door, and she's pulling him, and the guy's groaning, saying how much it hurts, and after a little while, she's just like, shut up, shut up, shut up! Evil Dead 2, you should watch it. And obviously the same day we watched the Evil Dead remake from 2013. I personally think that's like a great example of modern horror. Like, that's one of the more, like, modern horror has become like a formulaic piece of shit, and I think Evil Dead is that in its best form, because I don't think it's anything special, but I do like a lot of the lines from the characters, especially Mia when she's possessed. She says a lot of fucking hilarious stuff, and I think some of the like just over-the-top gory bits are entertaining, and I hate how shitty of a friend David is to his friend with glasses. Like, David is a shitty fucking friend. Don't ever trust that David guy, I tell you what. A couple days later, May 9th, I got a chance to see Evil Dead Rise, and I think it's pretty good. Other than one major problem with it at the end, I do hope this is the direction they take the Evil Dead series, and it's just a grab bag of like, yep, Necronomicon or some other ancient book got tampered with, and here's just an example of how shit can go poorly for people in this random location. The fact that they're in a cabin at the end and beginning or whatever feels kind of like they're forcing it, but my real problem is at the end when she goes into the parking garage and then she finds like a yard, like I don't know what the fuck, like yard people tending to yard lawnmowers and stuff. I don't know, like a yard business, and there's like a chainsaw in there, and so she uses a chainsaw to beat him. Evil Dead isn't chainsaws. Ash Williams is chainsaws. If you want to have Ash Williams, that's great. Bring in a chainsaw. You should have a chainsaw for Ash Williams. You do not need a chainsaw for Evil Dead. Please don't force that on everybody going forward. It'll just weaken the franchise and make it seem like it's a limp piece of shit. Evil Dead's better than that. The whole movie up prior to that point proves that you don't need Ash Williams shit, and it'll work. Trust me, it'll be fine. You didn't need Ash Williams in the remake. The remake was great. And I get it. That was a remake. That makes sense that Ash Williams isn't there and you have a chainsaw because it's a remake. So if you're going to have a remake without Ash Williams in it, now you're just going to have this, like, sprawling series of slightly, mostly unconnected movies other than there's Deadites. You don't need fucking chainsaws in them. The Deadites are the connection. They're the evil dead. Sorry. Passionate about that, apparently. Recommend Evil Dead Rise, though. It's a pretty fun time. May 20th, ended up rewatching Scream. And that's a solid movie. I don't have anything to say about Scream. I don't think I like it as much as other people do, but I don't think I dislike it. It's fine. Watch Scream if you haven't seen it. May 22nd, watch Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And, wow, that movie shocked the shit out of me. It's nothing special, but it's so much better than it had any right to be. I scoffed at the idea because I watched the original Dungeons & Dragons, like, 2000 movie. But I remember renting that with a friend, and we, like, made fucking fun of that. What a bad DVD. What a waste of a fucking movie rental that was. But yeah, they just did it, you know? They just chose, like... They just presented what a D&D campaign would be like, and that's, I think, what you need to do. And I hope if they make sequels that they just have the same actors play different characters and it's like a different campaign or something. Or like have some people come back. Like that one knight dude who leaves at one point. He'd be great to have come back. But yeah, it's nothing special. It's well worth your time, especially if you're a nerd, especially if you like D&D. They get a few things wrong, but who cares? You're the worst kind of nerd if you're bothered by that. And yeah, shockingly, I recommend Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It was a good time. Following that, June 6th, Super Mario Bros. Movie. The same fucking deal. Holy shit. I was not expecting this to be good. It's not what... like, I'm not the target audience anymore because I'm an old man. Yeah, they did it. They set it in like a Mushroom Kingdom. There's like actual Mario stuff. It's not like this weird, we're ashamed of the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, we can't show that, so we're just going to have Mario and Peach and Bowser fighting in some other place or anything. They did like the old school 80s origin justice, I think. Where, like, at the end of the movie, they're back fighting in Brooklyn and stuff, and I think that was great. The superstar thing. Some of the voices I thought were pretty bad. I think Charlie Day didn't try at all. Why not? How is Jack Black one of the better voices? And Chris Helm, too. Not Chris Helms. What the fuck's his name? Chris Pratt? Yeah, Pratt, the one I don't like. He even did a pretty good job. What? Charlie Day, why are you slacking, buddy? Can you not voice act? Can you not act? Because I've noticed, Charlie Day, you only do one character, and he's a very funny man. I do like Charlie Day, but, like, it's pretty it's limited scope. It's tiny. You're in a box. Seems like you're in a box, and you don't want to leave that box. I don't know, maybe Charlie shouldn't leave that box. That's okay. A couple days later, I rewatched it with a friend, and, yeah, same thing. Still liked it. Visually really nice looking, too. I think, like, the plot was a little dumb, and, I mean, as a nerd, there's, like, more references I would have liked. I didn't really care for Michael Keegan, Keys, Toad, but, you know, whatever. It's fine. His character, like, the movie's good. Watch the movie. Go watch the movie. Go watch Super Mario Bros. Movie. You got permission. You got permission from me. Now you can finally go rush out to theaters and go see it, now that you've got my permission. June 15th, I illegally downloaded a cam version of The Flash because I don't respect it enough to watch it, and I have enough balls to just say I fucking stole it and watched it. It was a god-awful piece of shit. I ended up going camping with a buddy soon after that, literally a couple days later, and the drive down to the beach, I literally just gave him the rundown of what the movie was, and that was the most fun I got out of the movie. What the fuck is The Flash? I don't understand. There's some things that are really cool in it. The scene with, like, his mom and having to go back and be like, yeah, I'm just some random guy, but, you know, you gotta put things back how they need to be. That was somehow touching, even though Ezra Miller is a monster of a person. Yeah, I don't know. It just... I kind of liked... everybody hated it, but I kind of liked the visual idea of, like, the multiverse smashing together. Although, like, using people who are dead without, like, their permission and, like, just kind of, like, the forced fan service of it was gross. But, I mean, like, the fact that we saw a crisis and they, like, visually represented, like, the like, when you turn a page in a crisis and there's just, like, 15 Earths, like, stacked next to each other, I thought that was cool. Everything else about the fucking Flash Bowl sucks, though. And I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it. The Flash sucks. The DCEU is dead. Thank God. I really, really hope James Gunn can lead into a not solely James Gunn feeling DC universe. James Gunn, I love you, but you've got such a distinct flavor. I just don't want every movie to feel like a James Gunn movie. They don't need to. James Gunn needs to be like... Can you imagine how bad and boring the MCU would have been a problem in like a completely different way if every single movie was a James Gunn movie? I mean, it would... I guess it would be the same problem. It's just all samey. Just James Gunn was the slight difference in those movies. Don't watch The Flash. Don't even illegally download it. It's not worth it. June 20th, me and my buddy, we were camping and we accidentally ended up watching The School of Rock because it was just on local access, whatever the hell TV was down at that cabin. That movie's terrible. And Jack Black, he's a hack. Just... I don't know. Just... What was Jack Black even popular for, man? I don't even, like, really get it. I do like the first Tenacious D album, but that's about it. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't know. June 27th, watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The first one. Yeah. Okay. So rewatch that, I guess. And that's a fun movie. It has a really great visual style. It tells a great story and is an excellent film. And it sucks that they work their animators to the bone. And I really hope the third one ends up getting made. July 28th, watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Wow, what a good movie. Who's surprised? I don't know. James Gunn's really good. He writes good films. He knows how to put in an emotional punch when you don't expect it. Although this one is pretty, like, come on, there's cute little animals under, like, a psychopath scientist, and the animals can talk. You know where that gut punch is coming from. But they handle it really well. Doesn't turn into, like, a We 3 situation, I don't think. Not quite. Not quite that bad. Is the world ready for like a We 3? If they did like a actual adaptation of We 3, fuck, dude, that book is so hard for me to read. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it's worth watching. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that the best series in the Marvel Universe, it would go off on a high note? Yeah, it's nuts. It's worth watching. August 6th, I randomly saw a trailer for this on, I think, Facebook, and I was like, holy shit, I want to see this. They cloned Tyrone. Let's see. I don't want to like give it away. I mean, the title kind of does. It's just about how like the U.S. government like keeps specific boroughs of black people poor and are like experimenting on them and stuff. And they like have specific clones of people in specific places to like balance things and make sure that like no one in that neighborhood can ever achieve like they want to. And how they go about revealing that is well done and interesting, and it's also a very funny movie on top of being horrifying. From what I remember, they cloned Tyrone was really, really good. I think I had a couple problems with the story, but I mean, what movie isn't there like at least a few times where you're like, I don't know. But overall, I think they cloned Tyrone. Really good movie. August 10th, watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Excellent follow-up. This is half of a movie. What the fuck? Take care of your editor or your animators. Pay them accordingly, give them rests, give them time to make the shit that they need. Why are you editing a movie after it's been released? I don't understand. I can understand doing like a release but like from what I understood, that movie was getting like active edits even in the movie theater and on streaming and stuff. Maybe that's untrue, but that's what I saw on Twitter. But the movie itself is great. Miguel O'Hara is a completely different Spider-Man 2099, but he's great in it. It's half of a movie, though. I don't know. It's a step down for me from the first. Even though the spot's awesome. I love the spot in it. I hope the third one comes out, and I hope it's great. August 15th, I rewatched it. Probably just showing a friend. Same. I just talked about it. I don't know. What do you want? I still liked it. August 26th, There Will Come Soft Rains. I don't remember what I read that brought me to this, but then I realized there was like a short movie about this, I think Ray Bradbury short story, and it's basically this automated house after the apocalypse. Everybody's dead, but it's an automatic house, so it's still taking care of everyone and like moving their corpses throughout the house and stuff, and then a bird ends up getting in, and then it destroys itself trying to kill the bird, but then the bird ends up surviving in this fucking apocalypse that humanity has created. It's very sad. It's very good. I think I remember reading that it was like a Fallout quest. Maybe I was reading about like Fallout and then saw that and then was like, oh, it's a reference to a thing. I don't know. But There Will Come Soft Rains. It's short. It's cool. It's like a old foreign animated film, so it's got like, I think, Russian language. I could be wrong. And the animation style itself is just neat, like old school. But I think it's neat. I don't know. Maybe some people might just be assholes about it and be like, "This is an old piece of shit," but you're fucking wrong. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and get out of here. September 7th, watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I watched it again a few days later, show a friend. This is another movie that surprised me. Very, very, very good. Holy crap, I can't believe it. I don't really like TMNT too much. I mean, I am, if you watch the comics thing, reading the IDW series for some insane reason. But I don't really have that strong of a connection with the Turtles. I don't, like, it's fun, it's fine, it's whatever, it's goofy, you know, they're wacky and wild. But yeah, this movie has a beautiful art style, and I really, really like that they had, like, the young kids play the Turtles. I hope they make more of these. I had 2 gripes. My first one, Seth Rogen, why the fuck are you voicing one of my favorite characters and you're also unable to do goddamn voice acting? I know that you, like, produce... Why can't you just be a dude? Why couldn't you just been in that final thing where it's like, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us? You know, that scene at the end? Why weren't you just one of those dudes? You don't need to be... I think you're Rocksteady, right? Or Bebop? I don't remember which one you play, but you play one of them, and it pisses me off that your voice comes out of one of my favorite fucking characters. And just, it's a pet peeve. Second one, why the fuck does Superfly talk about getting big booty boy races? What the fuck is a big booty boy race? Why the fuck is he advocating for more big booty boy races? Why the fuck did the term big booty boy races get put into a children's Nickelodeon film? Big booty butt races. What the fuck? What the fuck? September 17th, I watched Triangle of Sadness, which is a beautiful film that's just talking shit about capitalism, essentially. And it has a great ending. I highly recommend it. It's about a bunch of rich assholes on a boat and how things go poorly and how quickly civilization falls apart once you realize that, like, the upper echelons of society, quote unquote, don't really know how to do any fucking thing. And, like, they ended up crashing on an island. Like, this is a movie in 3 parts where it's like before getting on the boat, the island. And on the island part of the movie, like, this lady takes over who's just like head maid or whatever. And, like, yeah, she knows how to do everything. So she actually has value. And it's just, it's one of those type of movies where they're just like, see society? Look how clearly fucked up it is. What are you going to do about it? And it turns out we leave the movie theater. We're kind of like a little bitter about it. And then we, like, just keep living. But Triangle of Sadness is a really good movie. I highly recommend it. The ending is very, very good. Okay, and then we're already to the month of Halloween, so these are all going to be like horror or thriller movies. October 1st, rewatched Return of the Living Dead. Excellent movie. Was showing it to a friend who'd never seen it. They loved it. October 1st, I watched Skinamarink. That's not a very good movie in my opinion. It has a cool visual identity, but it should be cut down to about 20 minutes. Maybe 30 or 40, but, like, that movie doesn't need to be a movie's length. Very, very horrifying, though. What a scary fucking situation to be in. Whether you're taking it literally as if it is a kid who has a concussion and doesn't know it and is fading quick, or taking literally that you're a child in a strange supernatural scenario where the house is closing in on you. And that ending, where it pretty much solidifies the concussion ending. Oh, man. I'm glad I didn't have a concussion as a kid, or if I ever did, I went to the hospital. October 2nd, we watched The Ritual. This is a pretty cool camping movie. A bunch of dudes going hiking, and, like, they try to relate it to, like, a couple years prior. They were hanging out, and 2 of them went in to go get drinks, because one of them wanted to drink more. And one of the dude, they were all like, come on, let's just go home. And one dude was like, I'll go buy the drink with you. And then that guy ends up getting shot, and the guy who wanted to get drinks doesn't. And he could have maybe helped him, but didn't. But maybe not, because it's a fucking armed robbery. Yeah, you could play hero. Maybe he should have tried to play hero. But you can't also blame your friend for not when there's, like, a fucking armed robbery going on. I don't know. But they were all really mad at him because they let their friend die. And, like, do you know how guilty that guy must have felt? He wanted to fucking go get the alcohol. He must, like, I don't know. But anyway, so then they all come together to go on this trip. They all plan to go together in honor of their friend. And yeah, it's just weird cult stuff. And they end up in this strange Nordic, like, cult town that lives in, like, between time and space or something kind. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I'm adding that element. But they seem to be like a secretive village who only existed sometimes. But they were able to live forever in this, like, nebulous half-being state. And that's, like, what the ritual is. And they're trying to, like, appease this mountain god. And the mountain god shows up and he looks cool. The end of the movie's a little lame. It's fine, but, like, I don't know. I don't really get how, like... Maybe I just missed something, but the whole, like, blaming the friend for letting the other friend die, and then they're trying to relate that back to, like, how the rest of the friends die and are bitter towards him, and, like, the mountain, like, and how that relates to the story of the cult, and those wires aren't necessarily connecting for me, so I think, like, it misses a little bit of, either I missed it, or it's missing some thematic resonance, but, like, visually, there's a lot of stuff that's really good about it, and overall, I liked it a lot. And also just, like, cool Scandinavian Nordic creepy cults. Like, that's a vibe. October 3rd, Red Letter Media suggested Cobweb is a good movie, and they're fucking liars. Cobweb is a terrible movie. Waste of time. The only good thing about it is watching Homelander be like a clearly weirdo dad. For props, I'll give it, and Red Letter Media said this too, so I'm not noticing this on my own or anything, but the fact that they shoot it from, like, the perspective of a child is neat, where, like, things don't make sense because it's a dumb kid who's, like, worried about dumb kid things that aren't actually, like, based in reality. But then there really is a little girl living in the walls and she runs around like a spider, and, like, I don't know. It was not the right type of schlock for me personally. October 4th, I watched The Blackcoat's Daughter, and that is another movie that I don't know. I think I liked the plot, but it feels like they made the wrong movie. It just does not... I don't even know how to talk about it. The story they told and how they told it is not how I would have told the story. And, like, I think there's an interesting story in there. Maybe I need to give it a rewatch. And if I rewatch it, shit'll click into place better. But at least on the very first viewing of it, how they shot things and the story it ended up being didn't work for me. And that can be okay. You know, there can be movies where it's like you need to watch it 2 or 3 times to get it. And this does have some compelling, like, demonic possession kind of stuff. It's basically about a girl who, like, I think befriends a demon and is like, no, I like the demon, like, more than my parents, though. Like, I like the demon more than other people, and I don't care who I have to hurt to keep the demon in my life. Really cool idea. But just, like, the way it's... I don't know. I will say that I liked it enough that I'll give it a rewatch to see if knowing where it goes and where it starts, if that works out any better. But I don't know. I don't think so. Even though I do like some of the imagery and stuff they had in there. That was a movie I had never unpacked, and I didn't realize I had so much to unpack about it still. Following that, October 5th, I watched The Hole in the Ground. This is a cool movie, I think. I recommended it to my mom, and she watched it later, and she thought it was boring, so I don't know. But this is a movie about changelings. This is a movie about changelings, like a specific type of fairy that abduct your child and replace them. And this is about a woman who suspects that her son has been abducted and replaced with a fairy. And it's really cool. It's pretty obvious that is the case, that there's a changeling in her house and she's raising that instead of her son. So I kind of wish that they leaned a little more into I don't know, is she crazy? While still giving us ample evidence that this is clearly not a human boy. And then it ends with her going into the titular hole in the ground to recover her son. And I don't necessarily like things that happen in that final little bit there, but overall, I really like The Hole in the Ground. I think it's like a good little fairy tale-y kind of horror movie. I guess for some people it might be too slow though, so be wary for that. October 6th, we watched Scream 2. It's the sequel, and it's like the same thing happened kind of, but it's like at a school, I think. Yeah. And then they're in like an acting class. Yeah, it's coming back to me. And then it turns out that it's somebody's mom. I think it was like the mom of one of the killers from the first movie. Yeah, it was okay. Scream 2 is fine. I don't know. I don't think I like Scream as much as other people like Scream. It's fine. October 7th, I watched The Loved Ones, one of my favorite, I don't know what you call The Loved Ones. Psychological thriller? I don't know. We'll just call it Australian horror, because Australian horror knows how to really stick it to you. I really recommend The Loved Ones if you have the stomach for that kind of thing. I mean, we're talking about horror movies, so if, like, what are you doing here? But anyway, it's just about, like, a jealous girl who has apparently been kidnapping boys around, like, prom or homecoming or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the fuck Australian dances are. I don't care. But it's one of those school dances, and she's been abducting kids all of her life and having her own private one with her dad and killing the boys and then eventually doing something else with them, but they still disappear. It's pretty fucked up, like Australian horror. The best Australian horror is. It really made me have a growing appreciation for the song "Am I Not Pretty Enough?" Me and my friend will sing that to each other quite often now. But yeah, The Loved Ones. It's a quote-unquote fun movie. Same day, I ended up watching The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which was like hyped up to me as a specific not hyped up, the trailers hyped it up. No one hyped it up to me. I hyped it up in my head based on the trailer. About the voyage. At one point during the Dracula story, he's on a boat, and it's just that. The movie. And I was like, holy shit, Dracula on a boat. And this movie's terrible. It is just like a modern PG-13 horror nothing movie with a dumb, stupid CGI monster. It doesn't look like a fucking thing like a Dracula. He looks like a Nosferatu, which I guess sometimes Dracula does, but I don't like it. I wanted more. I wanted to be more horrifying. I wanted it to be more fucked up. I wanted Dracula to do more fucked up things to these people. I wanted Dracula to toy with these people more. He's like a rabid dog. And like, just, it's got that dumb PG-13 horror of like each horror scene has a set amount of people they can kill and then they move to the next one, and it's this like, I don't know. I just don't like it. So it wasn't a very good movie. Man, there, you could take that same concept, same cast, and just rewrite it a little bit and do like little different Dracula effects, and you'd have a really cool Dracula on a boat movie. For me, this was not it. Alright, recording this later because I forgot about it entirely. October 8th, watched The Block Island Sound, which is almost Dagon if it was just the boring parts. I don't know. I think it's a really interesting idea. It has some cool cinematography. Characters are mostly likable when they're not being weird. I don't know. I wanted more from it. It has a little bit of an unsatisfying ending. But, it's like a light Lovecraft kind of deal, and, you know, it's like this, some guys being drawn to the unknown. It's alright. There's lots of other cool movies to watch before you, like, gave this a shot, but it's not, like, something you should necessarily avoid, you know? It kind of sucks with how just, like, the world works now, that, like, there's not really a room for mediocre movies, which I guess is good. I don't know. You have access to so much more cool stuff, but this isn't bad. October 9th, I watched Apostle, which after watching found out that somebody from the raid was involved, and that made it make so much more sense. This is about some like Catholic dude or something going to like an island cult to like rescue his sister or something, and like randomly it breaks out into badass hand-to-hand combat, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, oh, the raid guy made this. Okay, that makes more sense. But this movie's okay. The plot isn't super great. The action's fun. It, like, the cinematography is nothing special, nothing terrible. They're on, like, it's, like, dismal, but it's pretty, if you know what I mean, kind of island. And, you know, it's like a cult movie. It's about a cult falling apart and all the stuff. Like, one cool thing is, like, the cults has some internal struggle towards the end. And one of the like dudes turns on the guy who's in charge and is like, "Oh, you're too weak now." And like that's fun cult stuff to me. Is just being like, the cult shit doesn't matter. You know, the cult shit doesn't matter. We're just using this as an excuse to control these people, and you're not doing what I want you to do with these people. So I'm gonna fucking kill you to take over the cult and be like, "Oh, this is for the name of this cult we don't give a shit about, to maintain control over these people in the way that I want." And that's awesome. And then there is also like a force there. I think I might want to rewatch Apostle, because I didn't like it too much when I first watched it. But now that I know what it is, maybe I'll have better expectations and can kind of get into the groove a little better. But even then, I don't... It's fine. I don't think it's anything super special. October 10th, I finally watched Train to Busan, which is an excellent and emotional train wreck of a movie. Basically, it's zombies on a train. And it's a Korean horror movie. And they do a really good job. If you know anything about like Korean horror movies, like they have some like over the top zombie movements that are very fun to watch. There's this dude who like, he just boxes all the zombies, and I fucking love that man. There's these two old elderly women who are just like, without my sister, I don't have a reason to live. And like, obviously that's going to cause problems later. And it's beautiful when it does. It's good. It's really good. It's really good. You should watch Train to Busan if you haven't. I'm pretty sure everyone's been saying that since 2016 though, so. October 11th, I watched Heck. That's the short that inspired Skinamarink. And while I said Skinamarink would be way better short, ironically, I think I like Skinamarink better than Heck. I don't know. There's something about the short that didn't work as well for me. Although at the very end, a little kid whispering to his mom, "Are we in hell, mommy?" Like that was like, ooh. Fuck, man, that just, like, I don't know. I don't believe in heaven and hell, but, like, conceptually, the idea of an innocent child going to hell, like, that's horrible. And, like, a little kid who doesn't even understand anything being like, is that what we're doing? Are we burning in hell right now? Like, fuck, what a... So that one sentence I liked better than Skinamarink and Heck, but overall I'd say Skinamarink was better, although I would still prefer like a slimmed down... If there was money in editing movies to be to how I wanted them, God, man, I would just do that. Everyone would. Nothing would get done. The world would cease to be. Anyway, October 12th, watch Terrifier. What the fuck? I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about the Terrifier films. I like Art the Clown a lot as a design. And I love how fucked up he is. My favorite part of Terrifier is he's like fucking up these people. He's torturing this woman. And then the woman finally gets the upper hand. And she's like, "Yeah, that's right, cocksucker. You fucking think you got the best of me?" And he just pulls out a gun and shoots her. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. You just Indiana Jones the final girl. That is so fucking funny. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about these movies that, on both hands. On one hand, there's something about this movie that makes me not want to watch it. And there's something about these movies that make me want to watch them. I don't know what that says about me. But Terrifier 1, if I'm remembering right, because I kind of watched these all together. Well, I guess I watched it several days later, but I don't know. It's all Terrifier, so it's some dude in clown makeup fucking with people. But the original Terrifier movie, I think, was probably one of the better of them. And if you only watch one Art movie, I think Art isn't Art the Clown. not Art isn't. This is Art. Terrifier is not Art. Terrifier is a horror movie. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's fun. If you're like with a group of friends who like stupid horror movies with over the top violence, I think that's the best setting for Terrifier. Same day, watched Little Shop of Horrors. Of course, the 1985 one. Lovely movie, barely horror. It technically is, especially with the alt ending, which is the preferred, better ending in my opinion. Which apparently no one had seen that up until like mid 2000s or 2010s. I had no idea. That's crazy. I thought that was like released around the same time as the movie, or like on like a VHS copy of it or something. Anyway, Little Shop of Horrors, if you don't know about it, it's a little plant that goes around, "Feed me, Seymour," because he eats people's blood. And there's like a crazy dentist, and you lose everything to the plant, and maybe you shouldn't have fed the plant so much. It's a musical. I don't know. If you've seen Little Shop of Horrors, you know it's an excellent fucking movie. And if you haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors, please just watch it. Just watch it. It's short. It's fantastic. If you don't like it, you're boring. Same day, October 12th, watch The Blob, 1988. Holy shit, this movie has such good effects. I mean, the enemy is a pile of fat, essentially, but, like, how they make that pile of fat kill things, like, how it sucks a dude into a sink, and it's, like, not really believable, but, like, about as believable as a 1980s movie could possibly be. There's a lady who dies in a phone booth, which, if you don't know what that is, they used to have phones on the corners of streets because cell phones didn't exist, so that's how you could, like, call home from afar. And there's a lady who dies in one of those. The main cast is pretty great. They're all, like, entertaining in their own way, even though, like, the guy who turns out to be the main guy has, like, a strange kind of look to him, but I don't know. Really good movie overall. This is another movie that I regret, like Return of the Living Dead, to have watched for, like, why didn't I watch this sooner? I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. The Blob, 1988. Same day, again, 4 fucking movies, same day. Jesus Christ, bro. Watch The Blob from 1958, the original The Blob. Never seen this before. It's alright. It's a pretty good 1950s horror movie, but it's that vibe. So if you know what a 1950s horror movie's like, it's mostly older dudes chatting. In this case, it's older dudes playing high schoolers, even though they're clearly in their fucking 30s or some shit. Like, these are grown-ass men being like, gee whiz, pop. But, yeah. And it has, like, pretty good effects for the time. And it's got, like, I don't know. I don't think it was the 50s. I think it's the 60s. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I would just watch that. It's better. The Blob 1958's okay. It's I don't know. 1950s horror movies, it's hard. It's tough out there. It's tough out there for a 1950s horror movie. October 13th, I watched the short The Chair. It was alright. Had some really good editing. Some of the ideas are pretty good. I'm curious. Like, I hope the people who made it end up making some more stuff. That'd be cool. Either small scale like that, or they just, like, get into the industry and end up working on some really cool movie, and I don't even know that those people made it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a short. It's about this dude who finds a chair on the side of the road, and it leads to some strange shit happening. There's some pretty fucking amazing lines that are out of left field that are very funny. It never gets, like, particularly scary, and it's kind of got, like, a is that it kind of ending, but I don't know. It's not bad. Especially if you're the type of person who likes a short, it might be up your alley. I recommend checking it out. All right, October 14th, I watched Color Out of Space again. That's another favorite movie of mine. I think that is an excellent adaptation of Color Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft. Just the way that the substanceless, abstract monster that is literally a color slowly seeps in and just slowly takes over everything, like, and warps time and space. Man, I love this movie. I just, damn, dude. And, like, the acting in it is fantastic, even though, like, it seems really weird and stilted. That's, like, on purpose and just furthers every, I don't know, it just, this movie's made by a crazy person, and it shows, and it, like, in the best way, and it works out. And, like, Color Out of Space, you want a crazy person to make that movie. I really hope that guy ends up making, I think his name's Richard Stanley. If you don't know about him, look into that. It's a pretty, dude's a weirdo, in, like, a good way. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe not a good way. He's entertaining. His story entertains me, at least. And I really hope he gets to make, I think he said he wanted to make at least 2 other H.P. Lovecraft movies, and I would really like to see that. Same day, I ended up watching Transylvania 6-5000. I thought this was a cult classic, and after I watched it and was confused by what the fuck I was watching, I found out that it was like a tax write-off or something made by some, like, fucking shitty studio. Yeah, it's about Jeff Goldblum, who clearly doesn't know what the fuck is going on and doesn't give a shit about it, teaming up with some other random asshole to, like, go to Transylvania and find the Wolfman and Frankenstein and Dracula, and, like, they did or they didn't, or I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought that it was, like, I don't know. I think Rob Zombie has a song named Transylvania 6-5000, so for some reason I thought that it was a cult thing, but then I need to realize that Rob Zombie doesn't necessarily draw on things that are any good. He just draws on things he likes, like, the vibe of, so I don't know. I didn't like it at all. Following that same day, though, I did watch my favorite new horror movie of the year, that I saw at least, Talk to Me. It's about these kids going to a college party, and there's like this mummified hand, and if you touch it and do a little ritual thing, you'll get possessed. And they're like, you can only be possessed for 30 seconds, and you got to break it. And it's like a party game that they play, and it just goes poorly because of course it would. And I think it was really, really good and had a pretty good ending. I thought it was a strong movie overall. I thought the main character did a few things that didn't make sense sometimes, but by and large, really excellent. Probably my new favorite horror movie, my favorite new horror movie of 2023 of the ones I've seen so far. I think like When Evil Lurks came out this year too, and I've heard that one's really good, and there's probably some others that I haven't even heard of yet. Following that, October 15th, watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Excellent movie. Not really horror, but it has horror in the title. If you've seen it, you know. If you haven't, you should. It's really, really good. I can understand if you watch it and you don't understand why it's as popular as it is, but if you watch it and you don't understand why it's popular at all, you might just be boring. I don't know. It's a really, really good movie. Really excellent musical. Same day, I watched The Monster Squad. All right, so far, two of these, Return of the Living Dead and The Blob from 88. I was like, oh yeah, 80s. They've got all these excellent horror movies and stuff, and I regret not watching them. I thought The Monster Squad would be that, and truth be told, had I watched that as a youngster, I'd probably like the Monster Squad all right. But, man, it is not a very good movie. It's pretty boring. I don't really have anything to say about it other than, like, it's goofy and kind of stupid. Maybe if I'd seen this between, like, 8 and 12, I would have dug this. But this is, I don't know. So, The Monster Squad, that's a movie that I've held off watching for years. Not on purpose. It's just one of the ones where I'm like, ooh, that one's going to be a good one. I'm excited to see it. And finally watched it and was just like, oh, no. October 17th, so we skipped the 16th. Fortunately, I failed my goddamn daily challenge, but whatever. October 17th, watch Ghostwatch, 1992. Now, this was a broadcast that I think the BBC did back in 92, and it was, like, supposed to be, like, a live action, like, they're recording a ghost haunting, and they like played it off as if it was really happening, and it was kind of cool, but unfortunately, since it's like a regular news cast, it's really boring for the most part. So it's kind of hard to watch, but like by the end of it, like the ghost has moved into possessing the cameras, and then from the cameras it starts possessing the studio, and then that's like how it ends, and I think that's kind of neat. And apparently it did scare some people back in the day, so they haven't really showed it back. But it ended in such an over-the-top nonsense manner. Like, I can't believe anyone would believe that, like, oh no, the studio was taken over by ghosts. Especially when after the newscast ended, they just did more. I assume they didn't go offline. I assume they, like, just played whatever happened next. But I don't know. I don't know if I can recommend Ghostwatch, but like it's one of those kind of cute things, and if you're down for a kind of boring time, there's some interesting things that happen throughout it. I don't know how you make it any better. Like, it's about as good as you could possibly be for being a newscast trying to fake a ghost possession. Maybe it could have been paced a little faster, but I don't know. October 18th, I watched Dagon, which is one of my favorite B movies of all time. It is a take on The Shadow Over Innsmouth by H.P. Lovecraft, and it's just about these people going to this town. They're on like a boat somewhere, and it ends up crashing, so they end up having to come into this town to like repair it, and it's just a fish man cult. You know how it is. And it turns out one of the dudes is kind of drawn here, and he belongs here. Ooh, it's really good. Excellent movie. There's a fucking crazy scene of a man getting skinned alive. Yeah. Really good movie. Highly recommend Dagon. Like, seriously. Same day, I ended up watching Day Shift from 2023. This is a Jamie Foxx movie where he's kind of like a jokey Blade. This movie's okay. It has like a little too much of like the MCU irreverence to it, and was like a little too stupid, which like is usually... It wasn't like the right kind of stupid. It sucks. We need more stupid stuff, like stuff that's just like not taking itself seriously. But then there's assholes like me who watch it and like there's lots of good stupid, but this one just didn't work for me. It was okay overall. Honestly, I don't even fucking remember how the movie ends. I just remember him like fighting Oh yeah, he gets his like there's like his daughter, and he's like trying to protect his daughter from the stuff, and then his wife's like, I'm leaving the state because you're a fucking loser, and he's like, I'm not a loser, I just fight vampires, and then it ends up working out. The ending was really lame. But I don't know, it had some like fun action. I don't know, Day Shift's okay. October 19th, I watched The Greasy Strangler, and this is one of the worst movies of all time. I cannot recommend it, although I will say a few of the jokes have seeped into my brain. This movie's literally disgusting, and the ending just turns to shit. It really sucks, too, because it's like about a man and a son and like their animosity towards one another, and then at the end they realize, oh, we don't need to have animosity for each other. We actually are better together, and it's this woman who is dividing us, and so they kill her, and it's like it becomes a very heartwarming story about like a son and his dad like reuniting over this woman's corpse that they murdered, and then it just goes completely off the rails, and they end up like seeing them, they're like running around naked as the Greasy Strangler in the woods, and they find themselves, and then they shoot themselves, and confetti's coming. I don't know, it turns into just like a complete nonsense movie. I think Tim and Eric had something to do with this, and if they didn't, it sure fucking feels like it, and I don't like that shit at all. But there's a couple jokes that make me laugh a lot. Like the dad at one point, I mean multiple times, he's like, oh, this food's not very good, there's not enough grease. You probably think I'm the Greasy Strangler. And his fucking son's like, no, Dad, I don't think that you're the Greasy Strangler. Nobody does. Oh, good, because I'm not. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that makes me laugh a lot, and I can't get that dumb fucking joke out of my head. You probably think I'm the Greasy Strangler. Like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about? What the fuck is the Greasy Strangler? No one should ever watch the Greasy Strangler. The Greasy Strangler should not have been made. The people who made the Greasy Strangler should be arrested. October 20th, I watched The Witches of Eastwick, and this is a fucking terrible movie. I don't know what the fuck I thought this movie was about, but it was not the movie I thought it was. This is about, like, three beautiful women just, like, start doubting themselves and catfighting over Jack fucking Nicholson, of all people, because he has a little bit of devil magic, and then they turn on him and, like, utilize his magic against him. This wasn't a movie for me. None of those ladies ever needed Jack fucking Nicholson, of all people, in their lives. None of it made any fucking sense. Watching those ladies, like, just hang out was, like, kind of fun. Sometimes, kinda, I guess. I don't know. Same day, watched All Hallows Eve, which was this is an anthology movie that introduces Art the Clown in the last part, but there's two other like really fucking horrible shorts before it. One was about like an alien breaking into this lady's house, and this alien looks like it's made out of Dollar Tree shit, like stapled together. Like it doesn't even, I don't even understand how they thought that was a movie. Like was it not a movie? Was this like, did they like make an online thing and then just like forced it to become a movie? I don't know. It was okay. Overall, kind of weak. The art one was all right, and if I'm remembering right, it had like a kind of cool. It's about a lady watching a tape. Maybe that was Terrifier 1 though. I don't remember. I think this was All Hallows Eve though. But there's a lady watching a tape, and like Art the Clown through the tape attacks her towards the end, and that's kind of neat. I guess it doesn't really make sense, but I mean, nothing about Art the Clown makes any fucking sense. He's just kind of like a malignant force of evil that doesn't have any real fucking rules. But yeah, that was that. October 21st, I watch Under the Skin, and this is not a fucking horror movie. I'm not sure what Under the Skin is. It's another very, very boring, slow movie about, like, an alien that kidnaps people, scoops them out of their body, and then puts an alien inside their body, and then that alien's walking around in their body. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson, you're, like, watching an alien in Scarlett Johansson's body do that, but then as she's connecting with more and more people, she's slowly realizing, like, oh, these are, like, this is like they're real people. Like it's not just like we're like ruining a life by kidnapping someone, and like that, how many people's life. But it's all very alien because she's very alien, and this movie succeeds at being like, I don't understand. Like there's this disconnect between humanity and the perspective of the main character, and I really like that. But it's very slow and boring as a result. And if you're not in the mood or like picking up what it's putting down, you're probably not going to enjoy it very much. But I liked watching Scarlett Johansson like slowly be like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And then she goes off on her own at one point And yeah, the ending isn't so great for what happens to her. But yeah, you know, I thought it was interesting up to that point, and I don't know if it really said anything, but it was interesting, and the whole alien perspective is nice. Well, not nice. It was pretty fucking boring, but like it was interesting. I should have said not nice. Fucking moron, just spouting words after an hour and 4 minutes nonsensically. Ugh. All right, October 26th, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. This is another classic about just two like hillbilly guys who mean well going out and like trying to renovate a cabin, and a bunch of college kids going down at the same time to camp, and they keep seeing them and they keep believing that they're evil hillbillies, and then the teens end up just killing themselves trying to attack Tucker and Dale, who most of the time don't even realize they're under attack at the time. And like the main villain of it is this crazy guy who turns out to be half hillbilly, and he says one of my favorite lines of all times, nothing is true, everything is a lie, and he just loses his mind. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, it's a fun time. October 27th, to watch X, which is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but if they were making a porno and instead of a redneck family it was just an old couple. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. I think I like it more than Pearl. And some people say they like Pearl more, but I don't know. I think X is better. It's just that. It's just a slasher where some kids are making a porno where they shouldn't be making a porno, and it pisses off the old people, so they start slashing. And also, like, it deals a lot with how scary being old is, and that's very true. There's an inherent, like, it sucks. There's no, like, getting old sucks. And, like, this movie's just kind of like, yeah, it does. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of scary that at some point your best years will be behind you. Like, that's an inevitability. That sucks, and it's horrifying. Next up, October 29th, watched Hausu. Classic Japanese horror film. Very, very abstract. Very, very nonsensical. I love it. If you're in the audience for it, you'll love it. You should give it a shot. It's one of those movies where I'd either say watch with a group of friends or like, but maybe not. It's very goofy. It's a 1977 Japanese horror movie. I think it does legitimately have awesome, like, good merits to it, and I think it is a successful horror film, and I think that it does. You can just look at it and be like, this is a goofy piece of shit. Like, it's very entertaining because of how strange and goofy it is. But if you actually, like, look at the goofy things that are happening, the vast majority of those actually do, like, reinforce the overall story of, like, this dead aunt whose vengeance and, like, lust for more than what she got out of life. I think it's legitimately a very good movie on top of being like a meme movie. I recommend Hausu, like on a serious note, and as just a like, let's watch this to have some fun, guys, type of note. This isn't quite a movie, but on October 30th, me and my mom watched Over the Garden Wall over the course of a few days. I think it's pretty good. I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people talk this movie up and are like, this is something that I'm going to watch every Halloween, and I did not get that feeling from it at all. I like some of the stories, and I like the general, I don't know. I wish I liked it more than I do, and I don't dislike it. It just felt okay. Maybe if I grew up with it, it would have been better, but it wasn't at all bad. And I will probably rewatch it again, but I don't think it'll become like an every October type of dealio for me. Unlike October 31st, I watched Trick or Treat, which this movie is Halloween to me, and I will watch this every fucking year. It's just another anthology movie telling different stories around Halloween. Usually there's this little guy named Sam involved, but not always. At least he's there in the background in some capacity. Excellent movie. I really like the principal who gets his comeuppance at a werewolf party, and then the dead kids. The dead kids is pretty good. You can't go wrong with dead kids. That's a fact. Same day, I watched The Endless. I guess this is a horror movie. This is like a weird sci-fi movie where, like, it's another cult movie where people end up going into, like, this shimmer, which is, like, a time jump. And, like, the movie never really gets to establish its rules. It feels like a really, really ambitious idea made by a guy who mostly had it down but didn't quite figure out all the rules for it. And, you know, you don't need to. But, like, I don't know. It was kind of strange how things happen sometimes once you really start realizing, like, oh, this is fucked, and they're, like, jumping through time in different ways. And there's, like, some alien force that's trapped them in this loop, and it's like, you can stay here, but you'll forever be... But also, it's like a cult, and the kid was raised in the cult, but then, like, somehow he got out, but then, like... So then, like, was it not always a cult? I don't know. I could go on for a while about how there's some, like, problems with this movie. But it was interesting and had like really interesting ideas, and I'm glad it exists. I'm glad I watched it, and I might rewatch it at some point because I don't know. It's one of those movies. And then finally, I watched Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 remake, one of the few Zack Snyder movies I actually like, and it held up pretty well. It's fun, more actiony type of zombie movie. The plot with the dude who lives at the gun store, obviously, is like one of my favorite parts. He's one of the cooler characters. Dawn of the Dead's like a fun action zombie movie. I think there's only a few things in there that don't make sense, and the only thing that I don't like is the zombie baby. That's so fucking stupid. I like I get the dad being like, no, we're gonna have this fucking zombie baby. That's cool, but then to like show the shitty little CGI zombie baby. But admittedly, though, I remembered it being worse because I thought that it ran around for a little bit. From what I remember now, having rewatched it, I don't think that happens. They basically just kill this ugly-looking CGI zombie baby, and that's more fine. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, it's one of the few Zack Snyder films I'd recommend. Basically just that and Watchmen, I think. November 8th, I watched Five Nights at Freddy's. This is a piece of shit movie. Don't ever watch Five Nights at Freddy's. It's bad. Yeah. November 11th, I watched The Devil's Rejects. This is one of my favorite horror movies. I just love it. It's the only good Rob Zombie movie, in my opinion. I need to rewatch House of a Thousand Corpses at some point, because I watched that a long time ago, and maybe it holds up, but I don't think so. But Devil's Rejects, very fun, very quotable, very fucked up. Highly recommend watching The Devil's Rejects. November 13th, I watched The Descent, another excellent horror movie about these girls just going on a cave dive, and there's stuff down there. As a claustrophobic, it's very effective in that way. The monsters are very effective. The interpersonal drama between the characters that sprouts up just from the stress of being in a cave and then the stress of being attacked is awesome. How some of the kills occur is pretty great, like in a dramatic storytelling sense. Very good movie overall. Same day, I ended up watching Mean Girls. This movie holds up. I think I watched this because I heard that they were remaking it, and I was like appalled at the idea. And while like sure you could update like the references and some of that stuff, overall I think Mean Girls holds up, and I don't see a need to remake it. And I think it's a genuinely funny movie overall. November 15th, watched Airplane. Again, like Mean Girls, this is just a really good movie that still holds up after all this time. There's a few jokes that don't work as well. There's like a joke about like the pilot like kind of doing some like pedophile stuff, which like I don't know, that didn't work so well, but overall most of the jokes are great. I have a drinking problem. The fucking two announcers announcing like which one are the loading zones at the beginning of the movie. The whole this was a terrible day to quit drinking. This is a terrible day to quit sniffing glue. This was a terrible day to quit fucking cocaine. Like, man, I'm just quoting random jokes. Really, really good movie. November 16th, I watched the short Scavengers, which is something I've been meaning to watch for a while, and has been since turned into has been turned into a full show, Scavengers Reign, which I haven't watched yet. And Scavengers was all right. It has a beautiful art style, cool idea, but like nothing really happened in it. It was just like, here's an alien world, and here's what people do in this alien world, like to get basic stuff. Like they have to do strange alien things, and it was fine. I'm really excited to watch Scavenger Reign, though. That looks very interesting to me. November 17th, I rewatched Reign of Fire. This is some movie that like I remember not caring too much for, but was like wanted to like it more. And yeah, it still doesn't hold up very well for me. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. There's some like cool stuff that happens in it, like Barbarian Matthew McConaughey is pretty awesome, but at the same time, he's very dumb. And like his death is really stupid. And, like, the logic of how the world works doesn't add up to me. And then, like, the false hope at the end of the movie doesn't make any sense to me. And a lot of it is just, like, dudes covered in soot being like, what are we going to do about these dragons then, huh? And it's like, probably not fucking much, dude. I don't know. I feel bad because on Twitter today, literally today, I saw somebody, and they, like, a bunch of people were talking about how much they like this movie. And I was like, I don't know. And I went back to my Letterboxd review, and I was like, I gave it 2 stars and thought it was stupid. And I was just like, man, did I miss something? Or was I just like expecting too much? Because I like the aesthetic. The idea is great. Awesome. Fucking incredible idea. Post-apocalypse because dragons came back. Cool idea. I just think the execution was lacking. And I don't think it was because it was made in 2002. Like, I think like the effects are actually hold up pretty well. I don't think that's the problem. I don't know. Maybe it's a me thing. November 18th, watch Mad Max Fury Road, one of my favorite fucking movies of all time. Holy shit, man. I don't what is there to say about this movie? It's so fun. It's just fun as fuck watching it. Morton Joe's great. Watching the one guy, Beast from the newer X-Men movies. Watching his journey from like a fledgling loser into his own man, incredible. Man. Well, and like just the world, just like I love getting to just like look at this weird world and be like, here's these biker bandit dudes. And this is just like, here's a little glimpse of like how they exist in this like piece of shit world where no one could possibly exist. I guess that's kind of funny. I just got done saying I don't see how anybody could live in the Reign of Fire world, but I'm like, yeah, Mad Max, you just like, I don't know, you eat fucking dirt. What, fuck, whatever, man. Maybe that's a bit of a double standard. I don't know. But Fury Road's a very fucking fun movie. November 19th, I watched Terrifier 2, and if I remember, this is the one that like really kicked it up and was like very fucked up just for like the sake of being fucked up. And there's also like, he was from like a children's cartoon, and they like go into the children's cartoon at one point. But if I remember right, at the end of this movie, he's just like strangely butchering a girl in like the most random, grotesque ways possible. And it's like just, it's almost comical because of how over the top it is and how nonsensical. And like no one torturing someone would do anything like that. But art did. I don't know. Terrifier 2 is eh. Apparently November 21st, I watched Big Money Hustlas a second time. So that should be a rewatch. So I guess I watched one less movie than I thought I did. Oh no. November 24th, I watched You're Next. This is a great horror movie about like a rich family getting together and some of the family members trying to kill them all to get life insurance. But then one of the family members' girlfriends is actually like a crazy survivalist, and she's like, oh, I can solve this. And they're like, oh, fuck. And then it all goes poorly in the best way, very entertaining way possible. November 28th, Super, one of my favorite movies of all time. James Gunn directed. Yeah, this is just a masterpiece, I think. It is a ridiculous movie. My one complaint is that, and it doesn't really matter because it's the type of movie, right? But there's like a car chase, or like not a chase. It's like he's like tailing them, like trying to figure out where they live. And he's literally like 5 feet behind them. And then he parks like right next to them and stuff. Like that's really stupid. But like for the type of movie it is, it works really well. Cause like it's about this guy who doesn't like, I don't know, something's off about him. I'm not sure exactly what, but he's not quite all there. So it makes sense for that dude's perspective to like, that's how the world would be. I really like Super. It's very fun. I highly recommend it. December 12th, I watched The Suicide Squad again. Lovely movie. Excellent movie. James Gunn made it. I don't know, man. Starro's awesome. Harley Quinn's great in it. Fucking love, it's not Bronze Tiger. Dead Kill Shot, Blood Shoot. Idris Elba's awesome. Peacemaker's awesome. The spin-off Peacemaker show is incredible. The Suicide Squad, man. It's a really good movie. The fact that Amanda Waller gets her head caved in so that they can save the day. Excellent. King Shark rips a man in half. Beautiful. Highly recommend it. December 25th, I watched Tokyo Godfathers. This movie might become a new yearly tradition for me. This is just about 3 homeless people finding a baby in the garbage and their journey to get it back to its mom. And, man, what a human and just powerful story. And apparently there was an old edition that I didn't even know about, but the current, basically the only version you can find, has such really, really good trans representation. One of the main characters is basically trans, or they're a drag. I'm not entirely, I don't know, but just they're portrayed super fucking well and like not in a shitty light. And it's just, we're all just human, man. We're all doing our best. December 26th, I watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World because I want to check out the anime, and I haven't seen the movie in a while. And the movie still holds up. I think it's still fun. It's a little cringy at parts. I did get a new appreciation for it at the very end when he fights evil Scott, and they're just like, whoa, man, what'd you do with that? And he's like, oh, he's not a bad guy. And it's like, oh, so you are a bad guy. Huh. I thought that was funny. I'd never noticed that before. But yeah, I still haven't watched the anime. I want to watch that. I watched like the first 2 episodes of it and really liked it. I need to finish it. And I've never read the comic. Maybe this year will be the year. I think Scott Pilgrim's great. I mean, he's a piece of shit, but I think the comic and the show and the movie are great. December 26th, watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Just trying to show it to a friend, and they fell asleep. So I don't think they cared much. But I still thought it was very funny. I mean, it's classic Monty Python, very dry British humor. Some of the jokes work better than others, but it's great. December 27th, Sorry to Bother You. Another one of my favorite movies of all time. I seem to have a lot of those. This is another just like takedown of capitalism and how fucked up things are. And just like, here's society. Look how fucked up it is. And there's like a ton of horsecock in this movie. Just a lot of horsecock. Like you're like watching a movie and then all of a sudden, bam, slapped in the face with some horsecock. In the best way possible though. Highly recommend. Highly recommend Sorry to Bother You. It is very like, it is both intelligent and stupid and like on point. It is an excellent movie. I highly recommend Sorry to Bother You. And then finally, the last movie I watched of the year. Had never seen it before, another Ghibli film. Porco Rosso. This is okay. Why is this a film? This feels like an episode of an anime. Not in a bad way. Like, it's not cheap. It's still beautiful, shot well and everything. But it just is like a slice of some random story. Like, it doesn't feel like a movie to me. Not at all bad. Nothing exceptional. It has the typical Ghibli beauty to it. Apparently, Miyazaki wants to make a sequel at some point, and I'd be down. I'd be curious to see what Porco Rosso 2 looks like. Or just any other... I feel like this is just a small part of a bigger world, and if we never get to see it, maybe that's fine. But yeah, that wraps up all the movies that I watched. What movies did you end up seeing in 2023? I didn't end up seeing a lot of new movies. Five Nights at Freddy's, one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life, was one of them. Okay, I will say the only thing I like about Five Nights at Freddy's is I watch it with the captions on, and at the bottom of the screen, towards the end, Freddy screams, and it says electronically roars, and holy shit, like, I get so much mileage out of that as a joke now for some reason. Yeah, bad time. But, wow, I cut off my ending just to do that stupid little bit. Anyway. Did you watch any interesting movies in 2023? Did you watch any shitty movies in 2023? Why don't you let me know about them down below? And have you seen any of these movies? Do you like any of these movies? Do you hate any of these movies? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I don't know, all that good stuff. I'm curious to hear about it, and I would love to have a conversation with you about it. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I don't know, in a year, maybe you'll see a best of 2024, and maybe between then and now, you'll see something else. Hope you have a good one.